Coming up on Tekzilla, notebooks, people, HP, Lenovo, and Dell. How about a Chrome operating system? The Stanford laptop Orchestra, any video update, and remote gaming from your console. Order that pizza and get yourself situated on the couch, because Tekzilla starts now. This episode of Tekzilla is made possible by TuneUp. Your music collection is a mess. TuneUp fixes it automagically. The new Ford Sync, featuring hands-free calling, music search, and turn-by-turn navigation. And Nokia. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
Welcome to Tekzilla, hands-on reviews of the latest tech and how to make the most out of the gear that you've already got.
Whether you're a beginner or tech support for your friends and family, if you've got a question about tech or the best thing on the menu at Taco Bell, we've got an answer for you.
And if we don't, we'll track down someone who does, like Roger Chang, who believes Taco Bell is heaven.
We've started a new little ritual after the shoot where we go get Taco Bell.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know
It's kind of blasphemous considering we live in San Francisco and there's so much good Mexican food.
No, not good. Amazing Mexican food.
But there's just something about the Bell. I got to run to the border. I got to get my crunchy tacos. They're the best.
I should point out, this is not a sponsored advertisement for Taco Bell. This is Taco Bell love here, people.
Kind of like Taco Bell. I grew up with Taco Bell. We didn't have good Mexican food in Connecticut when I was growing up. You know, they've probably fixed that since then.
They had good Mexican food in Danborough, Pennsylvania?
No, well, see, Taco Bell. That's all we had. You got to work with what you got.
It is mobile week, people, not to change the subject. Batteries have not made any stratospheric leaps in capacity, but notebooks are getting a lot better on battery life. Twee little netbooks get close to 6 hours from a 6-cell battery, and even full-size notebooks are hitting 6 to 7 hours with 15-inch monitors. On full-size notebooks, Windows 7 generally gives a performance boost. On wee little atom-powered netbooks, however, Windows 7 battery life story, well, it changes.
Yes, last week, Laptop Magazine posted results of some serious battery life testing on netbooks comparing Windows 7 to Windows XP. On full-size notebooks, Windows 7 generally delivers more battery life. Versus XP, Laptop's battery test does continuous web surfing over Wi-Fi found an average of 47 minutes less battery life on the trio of Toshiba, HP, and Asus netbooks they tested. And no, turning off arrow doesn't save battery life.
Apparently they had like 10,000 responses. People were like, well, you can turn off arrow, right?
I always thought that was true, but I guess if they tested it,
nope.
I mean, they're the Laptop Magazine. But speaking of netbooks, a beta of Google's Chrome OS might be released this week, which I'm pretty excited about.
I'm half excited and half like, well, it joins Jolly Cloud, Ubuntu Netbook Remix, and Windows 7, and Windows XP Home. I think it's actually going to be really interesting to see how the performance and battery life fares on Google's new browser-centric OS. Compared to pretty much everything else that's out there. Yeah, I'm also going to be interested to see if the Windows 7 thing, is there something they did involving the Atom or maybe the way it powers? I'm really curious to see what it does to the CPU. It's like 45 minutes is a long time.
Yeah, I know, because when I had, I originally had, for my HP Mini 1000, which I've talked about many times on the show. Originally I had that MIE, that Linux distro that they had especially built for HP. The battery life was okay, and then I did the Windows 7 early release candidate, the beta, and the battery life definitely went up, and just performance overall was a lot better. And now I have Jolly Cloud on it, and the battery life has been good. I haven't really seen a bump either way in battery life, but I also haven't been using it that regularly. So I can't really make that kind of judgment because I just haven't needed to use my netbook. I bring my MacBook Pro around with me still everywhere.
I've been using my netbook because like every other computer I own has died recently. I've been using my netbook for everything, and about 5.5 hours is what I'm getting. So
5.5 hours.
I'll play around with that.
Yeah, not bad.
In shiny happy news, Ms. Belmont has found the most stylish portable laptop stand ever.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
That'd be with the fabulous Nokia Booklet.
Yeah, this is the, I think it's pronounced Aviq. Aviq? A-V-I-I-Q. And it's $79.95, and it's available for pre-orders now at aviq.com. And it's actually pretty cool, and you can use it a bunch of different ways. And it's very bendable and movable and adjustable. You could fold it like this. You could fold it like this.
Half the audience is like, are you kidding me?
You can
Do you shop at Design Within Reach?
It comes with like a little container, so you can actually fold it up and just carry it like that with you wherever you go. So you can just stick it in your laptop bag, and you have a case with you wherever.
I was trying to figure out how to do something this way with it, but that's really only for storing it.
Well, yeah. What I noticed is they tell you to do it. They tell you to do it like that, and then you put the laptop on top, like that. But then I realized that it has like an aluminum lining on top here, so it was getting hot.
So you flipped it
over.
over.
So I flipped it over like that and put the laptop this way. And for my MacBook Pro, it's just the perfect size, so it has that nice air circulation underneath. And then Serafina was saying, wouldn't it be funny to stick some Otter Pops underneath and have a nice little coolant system in there?
I'm trying to figure out where these connect.
I don't know.
Maybe
Well,
there's like a way you
just
can use like multiple ones.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be
Oh wait,
interesting.
what if we do it that way?
Let's see how many different ways we can try to break this thing. But it's cool, right? I mean, it's kind of expensive for what it is, though.
I'd say
I mean,
for
80 bucks
yeah.
for that guy, that's like, eh. Maybe
It's
if it was
funny 'cause
built
you
of
see,
like
like,
adamantium and was totally unbreakable.
Well, it's like milling marks, so it looks like they milled aluminum after they bonded it to the plastic sheet, maybe?
I just feel like maybe over time all the bending and stretching and folding would break it down a little bit. But I'm sure they have some scientific method of saying that it will never wear and tear. It'll never, break down and stop working. Hello. That looks like it will never break and stop working.
Oh my goodness. So I'm a big fan of Spire USA. They make backpacks out in Boulder, Colorado. I believe they're still in Boulder. I bought my first one a few years ago. It's pretty beaten up thanks to a terrible washing machine accident that we do not speak of. But it still carries a load.
You washed your backpack?
I always wash my backpacks.
Really?
They get filthy and then I wash them.
I've never washed a backpack before.
Well, you probably shouldn't in my washing machine at home.
See, we learned two different things about washing today. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Inside joke.
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna laugh so hard about that. The fit and finish still amazing. Not all of their backpacks are made in the USA. I believe this one is actually made overseas now. All their backpacks used to be made in the US. And I was thinking I thought this was huge, but I was talking to the folks at Spire, and they're going to do the Envy, which is the one I own, basically next year, which is a smaller backpack. But they're basically saying people want bigger backpacks to carry more stuff. So it's it's your classic. This is the Spire Volt, gorgeous construction. They give you.
That would be a little big for me, I think.
Here.
Because I have the Timbuktu hacker bag, and it's good. It's like a good size, but I still kind of look like the Hunchback of Notre Dame when
That does look huge on you.
I know.
Especially since the straps are loose enough to fit me, so it's.
It's like, I'd have to walk around like this.
So they basically, what's kind of cool about it, Veronica throws my 400-pound backpack back, is they basically give you an appropriate sized envelope for your laptop that snaps in place. You can kind of decide how to hold it in place there. Or if you get a bigger notebook, you can basically get a bigger sleeve for that. There is a huge amount of storage inside of this. The water bottle pockets actually did hold my water bottle in, which is kind of shocked. The construction is really nice. And it's kind of crazy because there's two main compartments. They've got zippered tabs inside of there. And I think this would be good for me for like a weekend. But apparently people are carrying a lot of stuff these days.
Yeah, that's a bit big for a commuting bag for me, like I said. But for you, could be good.
It's actually a little big for me commuting. For
Yeah.
a weekend bag, I had all of my business stuff plus spare clothes. It worked out really well. SpireUSA.com is the website, and I can't wait to see the Envy when it comes out
Very
next
cool.
year.
I love bags, I have to admit. I'm a sucker for a good bag. All right, well, let's fire up the first question. Luke writes in, I bought a MacBook Pro about 4 months ago, and since the day I bought it, I had it sent to repair about 3 times. I'm worried about what if the computer has some problems after the 1-year warranty. Is it really worth the money to buy AppleCare and get the 3 years of warranty? Thanks, Luke in Minneapolis.
Okay, so we should answer this. This is kind of a larger question, not just Apple,
Yeah.
but statistically, I gotta say for almost any brand of notebook, you're way off the chart for repairs, and that really sucks.
Yeah, it just stinks when you get kind of a dud.
Yeah.
You know, when you get something home that you've spent a lot of money on and then things just aren't working the way they were supposed to. It's like,
That would be bad. The Classic Consumer Reports study back in 1997 said that an extended warranty usually costs as much as replacing the device by the time it died. You can now get pretty super cheap extended warranties at the big stores, but the advice is still generally that you don't need it because most consumer breakdowns on consumer electronics happen very early on in the first year, if not the first few hours. Usually if something doesn't break in the first 48 hours, it's probably good to go halfway to forever. Electronics tend to live for a really long time. Power supplies, not so much, but Apple, for one, is actually really good on power supply returns, I think because MagSafe power supplies tend to disintegrate over time.
Well, if they have a known bug, a known
Right.
problem, issue with something within the hardware, usually they're a little more lenient with it. But yeah, my computer has worked perfectly well over the past few years, except for now the DVD drive doesn't work anymore, and I had to replace the battery, which isn't a big deal. After 2 years, they'll start going anyway.
Right.
But yeah, I
Battery,
never
yeah.
get the extended warranty because I'm the kind of person that buys a new laptop every 2 or 3 years anyhow. So having a 3-year warranty doesn't really make a lot of sense for me.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's people are like, extended warranty isn't going to help you if you break your screen in most cases. An extended warranty isn't going to help you if you beat your notebook with a stick and break the hard drive. Basically, an extended warranty covers natural causes, for example, a manufacturer's defects like the ones you're running into. Man, yeah, I would say no. Because if it doesn't wear out in the first year, your hard drive might wear out, but you're probably going to spend less money on buying a hard drive that's like twice the size of the one you have now in a year or two than you are on the warranty. So I'm going to say stick with the 1-year warranty, and if I'm terribly wrong, I apologize.
Yeah, we're sorry. I never get the extended. I always just go with the 1 year.
Yeah.
So that's it's always worked for me. But if you want that assurance though, and if you have the money to spend, it can't hurt.
Right.
It can't hurt, I guess.
It hurts. Unless you've needed the money.
That was a
for
nebulous
food.
answer. We're sorry.
Still to come, notebook action, people. We're going to take a look at some of HP's fine and upstanding offerings for this holiday season. But while we've got your attention, let's thank one of our sponsors, the new Ford Sync. It offers hands-free voice command of your mobile phone and media player, so when you're in the car, you can focus on where you're going. Sync listens to your voice to let you make calls on your cell phone, search and listen to music and podcasts on your MP3 player, get turn-by-turn directions and real-time traffic and weather, even send a quick text message to folks on your contact list, all while you keep your eyes on the road. To learn more about Ford Sync, go to syncmyridepodcast.com. And to enter to win one of 15 free Nanos or 15 free Zunes through December 8th, send a tweet with the hashtag SyncMyRidePodcast. That's pound SyncMyRidePodcast, and you will automatically be entered to win. Get full details at syncmyridepodcast.com. And please support Tekzilla by supporting our sponsors by sending out that hashtag SyncMyRidePodcast. Welcome to this week's freebie download pick, a free program that we find useful, fun, or incredibly interesting. This week, CCleaner. It's an oldie but a goodie, and CCleaner has recently been updated for Windows 7. That makes this lightweight and fast Windows registry cleaner even better than ever. CCleaner clears out old temp and cache files and can easily delete personal and private information cookies that your web browser stores when you surf online. You say your browser does that? That's okay. You can also analyze Windows registry and clean away unused, obsolete, or inconsistent registry entries. If you're worried about doing permanent damage, don't, because CCleaner makes a backup before you make any changes. The new exclusion feature is excellent. It lets you specify files, folders, and registry keys to ignore from the cleaning process, which can save you time and hassle if you don't want that entry cleared. Even better, CCleaner is portable. You can run the app from a USB thumb drive on any machine you want. You don't have to install it first. How's that for handy? So, if you need a free utility that makes cleaning out your Windows machine a simple, straightforward task, CCleaner should be at the top of your list. We asked HP, Lenovo, and Dell for a notebook that hits the mainstream sweet spot, something more high-end, and a netbook. Here's a sample of what HP has to offer at hpdirect.com. If you're an AMD fan, you will love HP's Pavilion DM3. Starting at $530, these stylishly clad all-metal machines measure under 1 inch thin, weigh 4.2 pounds, and pack a gorgeous 13.3-inch LED screen. HP claims up to 10 hours of battery life from the standard 6-cell battery, and you can choose between AMD and Intel CPUs and even discrete graphics for more horsepower. Now, stepping up the style factor, the $1,700 HP NV13 weighs 3.74 pounds. Folks in the office couldn't keep their hands off the aluminum and magnesium case. The LED display is bright and even, and an optional battery slice can power the NV for up to 18 hours. Something that was very interesting is Quick Web. You can actually access web and multimedia features without logging into Windows, and the ATI switchable graphics is pretty slick. It goes between fast, discrete Radeon graphics or the onboard Intel graphics to save battery. Now, if you're more into netbooks but need more power, the $400 HP Mini 311 has an awesome update from earlier HP Mini models, NVIDIA Ion graphics, which makes for awesome Blu-ray performance. Matter of fact, awesome video performance, period. The 11.6-inch panel is paired with a 92% keyboard, and my personal favorite update, mouse buttons below the trackpad instead of on the sides, and an optional upgrade to 2 GB of RAM. Nice, sleek, clean,
And oh, this is a pretty powerful portable, but you'll pay a little extra for that. So, speaking of mobility, I talked to Sasha Sagan about the current state of EVDO. Here's what he had to say. Last week, Sasha Sagan from PC Mag joined us to talk about Motorola's Droid, the hands-on scoop. Now he's back for Mobile Week to talk about wireless access, getting the internet onto your notebook. Sasha, welcome back to Tekzilla.
Hey, it's good to be here again.
So I'll start with a question we get occasionally. What about WiMAX? What happened to WiMAX? Wasn't I going to get WiMAX on my notebook? It's 2010, right? Or it's almost 2010. Where's the WiMAX?
Yeah, what happened to WiMAX? Clearwire is really slowly building WiMAX across the country, and they've just launched it in a bunch of new cities. It's in Philadelphia, it's in Chicago, I think it's in Dallas, but it's just kind of slowly marching across the country. So if you're lucky enough to be in a Clearwire city, go to clear.com. But the rest of us, we're just out in the cold.
So EVDO is pretty much it for wireless access for most of the United States.
Well, there's EVDO and there's HSDPA, and they're both 3G, and one of them is Sprint and Verizon, and the other one is AT&T and T-Mobile. So all four carriers are offering options for your laptop. T-Mobile is a little cheaper than the other ones. Oh, and I forgot to mention Cricket. If you're in a Cricket city, they have a great deal. And I think San Francisco's a Cricket city, right?
I have no idea. This is only the second time I've ever actually heard of Cricket. They're a cellular provider?
They're a smaller carrier. They have a $40 EVDO service. Then you have T-Mobile, where they have $50 3G service, but T-Mobile doesn't have the greatest nationwide network. Then AT&T, Sprint, Verizon, all clocking in at 60.
Everybody pretty much has a 5 gigabyte data cap now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can't use these connections as your primary home connection. You'll go over that 5 gig cap.
Which network has the fastest speeds right now, Sasha?
It really depends on where you are. I mean, if you're in a good AT&T city, AT&T's technology is the fastest, and T-Mobile is also putting down really fast 3G technology right now. They're going to be even faster than AT&T next year, but you got to have that coverage. That's why for frequent travelers, I just recommend Verizon. Maybe they're a little slower, but they're everywhere.
Any tips on looking at the map and figuring out, whether or not that town you're going is actually in the fast EVDO area? Or is it just generally sort of, go there and find out?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough call, isn't it? Most of the carriers now have maps that show 3G coverage, but to some extent you just have to cross your fingers and hope that the map is right. Now, there's one other EVDO option I wanted to tell you about. I've got here this little Virgin Mobile prepaid EVDO stick.
Ooh,
and
pay by the month?
No, like pay by the megabyte.
Really?
You buy buckets of 250 megs or a gig at a time. And for heavy users, it's a lot more expensive than a monthly contract, but there's no contract. Like, you can just buy a gig when you need a gig. And they use Sprint's network, so they're everywhere. So that's a good option for light users.
Is tethering any more popular on the other networks at this point?
Most of the carriers are pulling back on tethering. Verizon is the most tether-friendly carrier right now. They're offering that option for most of their phones.
Is the MiFi Novatel Wireless, the new EVDO router that they've built, is that the way to go these days, or is a USB dongle pretty much still the best bet?
Well, if you're just going to use EVDO or 3G with one computer all the time, your USB stick is totally the way to go, because that'll give you the fastest connection. That pipes your network directly into your computer. That said, I love the MiFi. It's really easy to use. You just turn it on and you have a Wi-Fi hotspot. Now, you might lose some performance in that intermediate stage, basically. But in terms of ease of use and of getting especially multiple devices online at once, it's just awesome.
You've mentioned in the past cell phone company deals on notebooks with built-in EVDO, basically like a little mini PC card or micro PC card inside of there. How are the cell phone company deals on notebooks? I mean, you get it built in, but you can't share or move your modem. Is anybody allowing me to say share an account between a built-in modem and a USB dongle or anything like that?
No, and I'm not loving those subsidized netbook deals for the very reasons you're saying. It makes you less flexible. Like, I hate this idea that your computer is tied to one cellular network. I mean, you might have this computer for 3 or 4 years. You might want to switch carriers. You don't want to have to throw out your notebook.
That would be a bad thing. Earlier we were talking, you mentioned AT&T, their technology, if you're in one of the cities, and it's a pretty short list of cities that have it, it has the best performance. What kind of difference are we talking between, performance-wise, between AT&T and Verizon and Sprint and on down the list?
Verizon and Sprint are on average cutting around the 1.5 to 2 megabits range. If you get into one of these AT&T 7.2 cities, and T-Mobile is turning that on this year as well, you can get up to 3 to 3.5 if you're lucky. Yeah, it's a definite improvement.
Is that bandwidth shared amongst everybody else logging in?
To some extent, but I am talking about real-world numbers.
Oh, cool. That's actually pretty good. So 4G, is that coming? What's next? Since WiMAX is going to slowly roll out city by city, it doesn't seem like it's going to be the ultimate mobile warrior internet access thing. So what are we looking for next?
There's 3 different approaches coming. Number 1, Sprint and Clearwire have their WiMAX, and it's slowly marching like a, parade of ants across the country. Okay. Number 2, T-Mobile is installing something called HSPA Plus, and this is super 3G with real-life speeds up to 11 megabits a second.
Wow.
And this is going to start kicking in at the end of this year. You're going to see a lot more of this through next year. Then Verizon next year, they start to turn on their 4G. That's going to have speeds 8 to 12 megabits per second. It's going to get faster with time, but you're going to need all new equipment, all new phones for this network.
Sasha, thank you so much for your time. Awesome information as always. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find Sasha's coverage of cell phones, providers, and telephony toys up at PCMag.com. I highly recommend it, and we've got some links in the show notes.
Coming up next, what does it take to turn a laptop or iPhone into a musical instrument? The answer may surprise you. But first, we'd like to thank one of the episode's sponsors, TuneUp. If you've been ripping CDs since the dawn of MP3 encoding, you've probably used half a dozen ripping and coding apps of various quality, which also means that your iTunes library is filled with files missing metadata, album art, and improperly filled out ID3 tags. But who wants to go back through and fix everything by hand in iTunes? Not me. Well, fear not, because there's TuneUp. If your music collection is a mess, TuneUp fixes it automatically. TuneUp plugs right into iTunes and corrects all of the unlabeled and mislabeled music in your collection. So say goodbye to track 1s, unknown artists, or band names with 10 different spellings. Tired of looking at ugly gray music notes because iTunes album cover tool can't find the correct art for your songs? Well, TuneUp will fix that too. Totally in love with a band that you must and will see every show in your area, except you don't know when or where? Well, TuneUp can provide the best of web content like automatic concert alerts, YouTube videos, Wikipedia bios based on your collection. So you can track their movements like a true superfan. Best of all, you get an exclusive 15% discount just by using the code Tekzilla at the checkout. Save 15% on either a lifetime license of $29.95 or a yearly license of $19.95. So if your iTunes music collection needs some serious help, download TuneUp at tuneupmedia.com and use the code Tekzilla. Support us by supporting our sponsors. Looks like it's time for another website we just can't get enough of. A website that we just can't stay away from because it's too useful, too funny, or just too darn irresistible. This week's pick, the 61. If you're looking for yet another way to discover new music, look no further than the 61. This website and social network of sorts allows you to democratically vote on the hottest new tracks from relatively new and undiscovered artists. This way, you bypass the whole marketing machine and find tunes that really resonate with listeners. And to make things a little more fun, you can complete quests based on the music you listen to. As a new user, you're encouraged to listen to 4 different moods on the homepage for at least 5 minutes each. You can search by genres, but it's more fun to listen to the music as organized by the moods. It's a great way when you're just looking for something to perk you up or to relax to. There's also a point system called Reputation, which you earn by completing quests and hearting music that performs well. And like VH1 pop-up videos, you get little informational tidbits about the artists as you listen to them. So to discover new music and have fun doing it, check out the 61 today. And thanks to Tim Seeley for sending this one in.
We asked HP, Lenovo, and Dell for a notebook that hits the mainstream sweet spot, something more high-end, and a netbook. Lenovo still has the classic black ThinkPad designs. The T400 offers the amazing keyboard. Well, the feel I grew to love carrying ThinkPads to work and typing all day. They start at $750 with dual-core processors. The T400S I'm holding costs a hefty $1,600, but adds in an optional touchscreen with some useful integrated controls. Just hit the big red button and start playing around. Now, check this out. The patterns on the IdeaPad line are a strong sign that these are consumer products. The IdeaPad U series that I'm holding, and this is the pattern I was talking about, very shiny, hits the sweet spot with an optional Core 2 Duo processors, 11, 13, 14, and 15-inch screens, and as light as 2.97 pounds. This is a very, very light notebook and some decent performance. Thinking netbook, the IdeaPad S lineup offers 2.2-pound 10-inch Atom-powered models along with 12-inch models that can be configured with NVIDIA Ion GPUs, which I like in as much as 3 gigabytes of RAM, though that takes the price up to $649, but this is a very, very powerful netbook. Now, if you want something totally over the top, look for the Lenovo ThinkPad W700D, a mobile workstation for hardcore field computing. We're talking $3,000 to $6,000 plus. You can get a Core 2 Extreme, 8 gigabytes of RAM, the 17-inch 400-nit panel, which is pretty good for outdoors. And how about the second 10.6-inch monitor and the biggest trackpad I have ever seen in my life down here, along with the regular trackpad and, of course, the classic thumbstick, pointing stick. Oh, Lenovo's going to kill me. I can never remember that trademark. This is really hardcore. Just don't ask about the battery life or the weight. Of course, laptops aren't just about games, internet, work, or killing small animals. They can also be about music, as Veronica found out when she interviewed Stanford Laptop Orchestra's founder, Ge Wang.
Our next guest has done something very special. He's taken popular everyday personal technologies and turned them into a very unique and cool musical experience. Joining me now is the founder of Stanford's Laptop Orchestra, Ge Wang. Welcome to the show, Ge.
Thank you, Veronica.
To fill in our audience on your background, you've done a ton of work intersecting audio, programming, performance, iPhone apps. Are you a programmer, musician, or a teacher by discipline?
I think I suppose I'm a little bit of all of those.
I'd love to know how you find the time to do all of those different things. But we'll start with SLORC. That's the Stanford Laptop Orchestra. How did that get started? Where did the idea come from?
Well, the idea of the Laptop Orchestra really came from the Princeton Laptop Orchestra. I was a graduate student at Princeton getting a PhD in computer science, but working with computer music. And the Princeton Laptop Orchestra was started in 2005 by 2 faculty, and they had this idea of, we've been really performing all this time with computers and new interfaces for musical expression, and also as well as kind of a myriad of laptop-based performances. But in all of those, you kind of have this aesthetic where the computer is making its sound and it's kind of divorced from the actual performance aspect of it, perhaps in some ways. So the Laptop Orchestra was made to kind of both combine more traditional ensembles like a chamber orchestra with what computers can do. So this idea of actually having each laptop and each human be paired with its own speaker array, I think is kind of what it's really at the center of the aesthetic of the Laptop Orchestra. So that was started in 2005 at Princeton, and then I started at Stanford in 2007, and that's when we started building SLORC, the Stanford Laptop Orchestra.
Now you also have kind of a companion orchestra, the Stanford Mobile Phone Orchestra. Has that been going on for as long as SLORC, or is that something that's relatively new?
That's something that is both, I guess, relatively as old as SLORC, dating back to 2007, 2008. But there's actually a new instantiation of the Stanford Mobile Phone Orchestra that we're working on right now. And before we used smartphones from Nokia. This is actually before the iPhone and the iPhone SDK was even announced. And we experimented with, with modern smartphones, what kind of music and music making experiences can we afford? And more recently with the iPhone and the SDK, we've really been experimenting with iPhones as a platform for making new type of music together.
So working with Mofo, did that kind of encourage you to start your own iPhone company that actually deals with a lot of musical apps?
I think that definitely influenced the decision to co-found Smule in summer of 2008. It just seems like there's a huge opportunity here to explore what new types of music making possibilities is now feasible, and how can we bring this to a wide audience.
So I hear you have some projects that you can demo for us right now.
Okay, so what I'm running here now is actually a Chuck program that's synthesizing this rather mechanical singing voice. So, and what you're hearing is really kind of actually generated live, it's not recorded. And what I also have is this commodity joystick controller.
Awesome.
You can use any standard kind of flight simulators and whatnot. And every time I squeeze the trigger, the thing sings. Now, there's more things I can do with this. Because it's a model, I can.
Oh wow!
I can make it sing different vowels as I kind of move it in this 2D space. And if I twist it to the right, vibrato. There's volume.
You're kind of like a high-tech Peter Frampton with that thing.
Yeah, it kind of is like that. It's kind of a talk box in its own, all wrapped up into one. And you can also make it breathe instead of sing. Finally, you can connect this to the keyboard and actually sing notes. And I can make it sing high, low.
That's amazing.
So this is kind of really embodies a lot of the themes in the laptop orchestra, which really influences what we do in the mobile phone orchestra and also its mule. In that just turning everyday, as you said, or turning everyday kind of technology into new musical making experiences. And I can also show you, I can play you a ditty on the maybe the ocarina and the leaf trombone, and for those I'm actually going to put on these special gloves we have in the phone orchestra. And these are actually just kind of standard iPod speakers, battery powered, sewn onto sports gloves that we've actually modified so we can actually access the phone as we're playing. So you look somewhere between kind of ridiculous and looking kind of cool. So that's these things. So now that I play this, oops, sure the volume's up. So here's the ocarina.
Sounds great.
And make sure I'm in the right mode. Good.
You've obviously had a little bit of practice doing that.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Well, God, thank you very much for joining us today. Where can we follow your work online?
Thanks for having me, Veronica. Actually, if you just look for the Google Stanford Laptop Orchestra or the Stanford Mobile Phone Orchestra, or just go just the TuneUp homepage, you can find a number of things that that we're actually working on. If you Google Chuck programming language, you'll find the Chuck programming language site where you can freely download various tools to get started with just synthesizing sound with code. So those are probably good starts.
I'd like to thank Go Wong for being on the show today. We'll put links in the show notes that you can find at revision3.com/Tekzilla. After the break, your viewer questions, but first,
we need to thank one of our sponsors, Nokia's Booklet 3G, revolutionizing mobility again. Powered by the efficient Intel Atom processor, the Nokia Booklet 3G is built to deliver up to 12 hours of battery life. You heard right, 12 hours of battery life. Never be a slave to power outlets again. And at less than 2.76 pounds and less than 1 inch thin, the Nokia Booklet 3G is the perfect size for anyone who needs to work on the go. If you're worried about getting online, fear not. With its wide range of always-on connectivity features like GHSPA and Wi-Fi, you'll always be able to reach the net. With Bluetooth connectivity, compatible peripherals can connect without the hassle of tangling wires and plugs. Plus, with Windows 7 installed, the Nokia Booklet 3G is compatible with thousands of popular applications and services, including Nokia's OV online service. Prices start at $299.99 with an AT&T Data Connect plan and 2-year activation. You can find the Nokia Booklet 3G for sale at all U.S. Best Buy locations soon. For more feature info on the Nokia Booklet 3G, go to nokia.com/booklet3G. And please, support Tekzilla by supporting our sponsors like Nokia. We asked HP, Lenovo, and Dell for a notebook that hits the mainstream sweet spot, something more high-end, and a netbook. Here's a sample of what Dell has up on Dell.com. Now, the Inspiron is the sweet spot of Dell's consumer notebooks. The Inspiron 11Z I'm holding here is also the smallest they offer. There's also 13, 14, 15, and 17-inch screens at prices starting between $400 and $550. The 11Z here runs an Intel Celeron 743 or a Pentium SU 4100, which gives it a nice edge over the Atom found in most mini netbooks. Now, the models with bigger screens can actually have dual-core Intel processors, which makes for good power. Looking for more power? Dell Studio and Studio XPS lines max out with Core i7 mobile CPUs, but if gaming is more your style, you can pick up an Alienware notebook from Alienware.com or Dell.com. The distinctively styled Alienware M15X I'm holding starts at $1,500 with an Intel Core i7 720QM CPU, NVIDIA GeForce GT240M GPU, graphics, 3 GB of DDR3 RAM, and a 15.6-inch gorgeous 1600 by 900
900 WLED. For a mere $1,800 more, you can top it out with a Core i7 920XM CPU, an NVIDIA GTX 260M graphics card, and 8 gigabytes of DDR3 1333 megahertz and a 1080p WLED. And of course, they all come with the gorgeous riveted on badge down there at the bottom. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Adamo XPS, a hair under 10 millimeters with a 13.4-inch widescreen. This uber thin design packs surprisingly solid feel on the fold-out keyboard, 4 gigabytes of RAM and a 1.4 gigahertz Core 2 Duo ULV processor. Dell promises over 5 hours of battery life with a weight under 3.2 pounds. Now, if you're not into the plain colors like this, check out the 200-odd lid design art offerings in Dell's Design Studio, from baseball team logos to art and patterns available on most of Dell's laptop lineup, including the Mini 10 and 10V. Dell's netbooks, which start at under $300, I own 2 of them, and can be ordered with built-in TV tuners or GPS, but still top out at a paltry 1 gigabyte of RAM. We want more RAM, Dell. All right, enough notebooks. Let's take one final viewer question.
We got ourselves a question from Ron in NYC. He writes, "Hey guys, I'm a college student and I'm studying abroad next semester. I would still like to get my game fix in without having to bring my PS3 with me. I was wondering if you would review the Spawn HD 720. Thanks and keep up the great work."
So have you seen the whole idea of the Spawn HD 720?
No, I actually haven't.
It's like a box you take with you somewhere else, and it allows you to connect over the internet.
So it's like a sling box, but for games.
Exactly.
Okay.
Here's the thing though, Ron, I don't think we're going to be able to get one in for review. They haven't even shipped yet, and the company's basically saying they're having part supplies issues, or they've sold 2 zillion of them and they're not going to be able to sell anymore for a while. But basically, they don't need any more press because they're apparently selling a ton of them. That said, I would be shocked if you could get it to run anywhere abroad, because you need a ton of bandwidth to make this work. You're going to have latency issues alone,
Yeah.
I mean, are difficult inside of the same state or the same city if you have a bad network connection. Like if you're going to, I assume you're going to be in England or Paris or China or Japan or somewhere.
Yeah,
you know.
I've used the sling box overseas in Japan and from
Right.
England, and it's worked okay on like hotel wireless connections.
But that's also one way.
That's one way. That is not that, you know, you're not taking into consideration the lag time of,
Right.
of playing a game. I don't think you could ever play an online game that way. I mean, maybe a few years from now when broadband becomes really, really
When everybody has internet
widespread,
too, and there's 6 millisecond
we've got,
pings everywhere in the
exactly,
world.
we have super high speed broadband.
Yeah.
And then what would you do?
Even the basic configuration. Look, remote play in standard definition requires a minimum bandwidth of 500 kilobits per second up to the remote player and a recommended bandwidth of a megabit per second per remote player. Remote play in high definition requires 2 megabits per second up. Basically, there's the likelihood of you having a megabit or even 500K of good consistent uploads. Okay, maybe 500K if you have a cable modem.
Well, I mean, it's obviously working for someone because they're selling them.
They haven't sold it yet. They're shipping them.
They're shipping them.
They've pre-ordered a ton of them. I think it's going to be interesting to see how this actually works in the field, as they say.
Do you know how it works with gaming? Like, I mean, can you only play the same game because the disc has to be loaded into the console?
I didn't even get that far. I saw I was like, he's overseas. This requires like a 500K upbit to do standard definition gaming, and I'm like, not gonna work.
I just wonder if I just
I
don't
guess
know
you
how
need
it
somebody
works.
to
I'll have
change
to
the
look
disc
this up.
for you.
It's something I don't know about.
I think the idea is like, you're at work and you have this box or at your buddy's house, but
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see this actually work in real life. I would take your PS3 with you or get a PSP.
Your PSP, yeah, or take it with you.
Yeah,
you
I
can
would
do
take.
that.
I would take you can take your PS3 with you.
It's kinda
I don't
heavy.
think it's a control. Maybe it is.
It's kind of heavy. I mean, if you have a Slim, that might not be so bad, but the older PS3s are like, they're like spaceships.
If
you know.
you're an avid gamer, you're going to want to take your box with you. At the very least, get a PSP or a Nintendo DS. Personally, I'd get a Nintendo DS. I own a PSP. It's a great paperweight.
Bring a laptop with you and get on Steam and play that way too.
That's an idea.
Oh, could work.
Hey.
It's probably lighter than a console.
But yeah, I don't think that's going to be the answer to your remote college gaming needs. Besides, you should be buying a local game console. Maybe there's a special Croatian game console we haven't heard of.
Maybe, but then he might
Maybe.
have issues with region settings
Or language.
or language settings.
Hey everybody, we were nominated for a podcast award. Go to
Yay!
podcastawards.com between now and November 30th and vote, please. You can vote once a day, every day, leading right up to the deadline. Tekzilla is a finalist in the Best Video Podcast category, and several other Revision 3 shows have been nominated in various other categories, so please show us some love and help us win. And speaking of other Revision 3 shows, have you seen our newest show, Instant Messages? It is incredible. Check this out.
Do you love to play Super Mario Brothers in the classic Nintendo system? Do you like getting tagged from behind while you do it? I will send you the address to a hotel, and when you arrive, the door will be open. Please come in. Remove all of your clothing. Turn off all of the lights in the room and kneel on the bed so you are bathed in the light from the TV. Please make sure that you are facing the TV and that your butt is in the air towards the pillows on the bed. I'm open to SMB3, and if you're really nasty, we can try SMB2.
Bringing the internets to life every Friday at revision3.com/instant messages. Do not miss it.
You know, I just have to say, I have to do a little smack talking here. We are in the best video podcast category, and some of the other nominees, like Twit, for example, and Buzz Out Loud, yeah, they're video podcasts in the sense that they videotape themselves talking into microphones. But I would like to say that we have very good production value, and we do have, you know, video segments, awesome production value. We've got our lovely set here. I think we really put the effort into it.
Yeah, I would also
put
like
a lot
to
of effort into
point
the video
out the
part.
incredible irony that we were nominated for Best Podcast, which is awesome, but we were not nominated for the Science or Technology Podcast.
Well, we could
course
have been
we're-
nominated, but we might not have been nominated enough times to make it into the finalists.
So it's a popularity contest.
It's basically a popularity contest. So make us the most popular, guys, and vote for us. Come on.
I'm having
We
bad
never win
flashbacks to
anything.
high school. No, actually, we're the best of 2008 from iTunes.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, that's awesome.
Good. Hey, we love you and we love your questions, which is why we bring you this show each and every week. So email us, Tekzilla at revision3.com, right after you do the thing with the podcast
The voting.
and the voting.
Do the voting.
Tech help, product reviews, how-tos, you ask us, we'll do it, but we need those emails. Especially, we'd love to hear about some of your favorite free applications and websites, because we're doing that free show. If we use your email, we will give you the big shout out on the show. So don't be shy. Send them all in to Tekzilla at revision3.com.
Even better, send us in a video question. Think of all the fun you can have and the admiration of all your friends and family when they see your mug on our show. Just keep it to 15 seconds, upload it to YouTube, and send us a link in an email with video question in the subject line. And as always, you can visit our forums at revision3.com/forum. Share your thoughts, ideas, or comments with other fans of the show. Thank you guys so much for watching.
I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
We'll see you next week on Tekzilla.
I'm going to get so much trouble with Leo for that comment.
You may be thinking to yourself, how do I attract a young, technologically savvy woman like Veronica Belmont? Try carrying the Nokia Booklet.
3, 2. Oh my God, what is going on with this shoot?
In 3, 2, and in 3, 2, and please do it for Daft. Sasha, welcome back to Wow. I'm gonna just get a job where I never need to talk anymore.
Unknown artists or band names with unknowns. Okay, thank you. Got it. Got it. I got spitty mouth. Let me read that paragraph over right there.